All right, so Tottenham, right? They're in a bit of a situation with their goalkeepers.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Vicario, the ankle injury, uh, who knows how long he's out for.
Potentially the whole season.
And Forster, I mean, he's let in 20 goals in 7 games.
Yeah.
Not great.
So they're looking at this. Antonin Kinsky, he's at Slavia Prague. Thinking about her dropping 12.5 million pounds. What do you think? Answer to their prayers. Panic buy.
I mean, it's a bold move, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, he's only 21.
Yeah.
But, I mean, come on, look at his record. 29 appearances for Slavia Prague and 14 clean sheets.
Yeah.
That's not just luck. He's got real talent.
All right, you've got my attention. What's got Tottenham really interested in this guy? What kind of keeper are we talking about here?
Well, think of him as like the anti-Forster. I mean, he's not just, standing there between the posts and waiting to make a save.
Yeah.
He's really actively involved in the game, like dictating the pace, even launching attacks.
Yeah. The scout, Rostislav Haracek, the guy who discovered him, says he's got this incredible calmness under pressure, almost like a young Petrashek.
Okay, wow.
But it's more than that. It's like he's got this football first mentality. He's always looking for like the smart play, the skillful play, even if it's a little risky.
Wait, hold on, risky. I thought goalkeepers are supposed to be like, the safe bet, the steady hands.
Yeah, well, not Kinsky.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to take chances. And that's what makes him so exciting.
Yeah.
So first of all, ball control. Fantastic ball control. That's crucial, right? Prevents those like lightning fast counterattacks, the ones that can really hurt a team.
Oh, yeah.
And here's the kicker. He's ambipedal.
Ambi what now?
Ambipedal. Equally skilled with both feet.
Oh, wow.
Most keepers, they favor the right
What?
when they're kicking. But Kinsky, he can use either foot with pinpoint accuracy.
Right.
So imagine what that could do for Tottenham's passing game. They love to build from the back, right?
Sure.
And Kinsky could be the key to just unlocking a whole new level of creativity.
I mean, I'm starting to see why they're willing to spend big money on him, but will it actually work? I mean, Tottenham's tried that passing out from the back thing before, and it's backfired pretty badly sometimes.
Yeah, well, that is the big question, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's a high-risk, high-reward style. And it takes a special kind of goalkeeper to pull it off consistently.
Yeah.
But if anyone can do it, I mean, Kinsky just might be the guy. Remember that Champions League quarterfinal? Slavia Prague up against Real Madrid?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, talk about pressure. But Kinsky, he just kept his cool, made some crucial saves with both hands, A and D, both feet.
Wow.
He launched a counterattack with this, like, perfect left-footed pass that led to Slavia Prague's winning goal.
Okay, now you're talking. Now I'm starting to get it. But the Premier League, that's a whole different beast.
For sure.
The pace, the physicality, the pressure.
Absolutely.
Can a 21-year-old, even with all that talent, can he handle that?
Yeah. I mean, remember, Hick was a few years older when he got to Chelsea. And he was, a seasoned international. So Kinsky's taking a huge leap here.
And so are Tottenham, it seems.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, but let's go back to Kinsky's style for a minute.
Yeah.
You were saying he's not just a shot stopper. He's actively involved in the game.
Uh-huh.
What does that actually look like on the pitch?
Well, I mean, first of all, that clean sheet record is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Only 7 goals conceded in 19 league games for Slavia Prague. I mean, compare that to Tottenham's defense, and it's no wonder they're interested.
Yeah.
But it's not just about stats, it's how he does it.
Right.
He's proactive, constantly reading the game, anticipating threats, directing his defense. He's not afraid to come off his line to intercept crosses, clear loose balls.
Okay.
And that passing range, I mean, it's phenomenal.
So he's like a sweeper-keeper hybrid? Is that a thing?
It's becoming more common in the modern game, and Kinsky is one of the best examples. I mean, he's not just a goalkeeper, he's a playmaker. He's essentially an 11th outfield player for Slavia Prague, which is what makes him so valuable.
Right, but doesn't that create a whole new set of challenges for the defenders? They're used to having a goalkeeper who stays on his line.
Exactly.
Now they've got this guy roaming all over the pitch.
Yeah, that's where the coaching staff comes in. It's going to take, time, effort to integrate him into Tottenham's system, make sure everyone's comfortable.
It sounds risky, but also like it could be a game changer for Tottenham.
Yeah.
You mentioned Peter Cech a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, like the gold standard for Premier League goalkeepers.
Yeah.
But is the comparison really fair? Are we putting too much pressure on Kinsky comparing him to a legend like that?
Yeah, it's easy to get carried away. Hetch had, years of experience at the top level before he even got to England.
Yeah.
Kinsky, he's still raw talent, lots of development ahead of him.
So what are the main differences in their styles, like strengths and weaknesses?
Well, both known for calmness under pressure, and they make those big saves.
Yeah.
But where Eksh was, I guess, more traditional, master of shot stopping, commanding his area,
Right.
Kinsky's game is more about being proactive and distribution.
So less about reflexes, more about reading the game and making smart decisions.
Exactly. Ekers was a wall, fortress. Kinsky's more like a conductor, an architect.
Interesting. So is that what Tottenham needs right now? A conductor to orchestrate their defense?
It could be. Remember Tottenham's problem. It's not just individual errors. Yeah. It's a lack of organization, a lack of communication at the back.
Right.
They need someone who can just bring order to that chaos.
Yeah.
Kinsky might just be that guy.
I'm sold. I need to see this guy play. But let's be real. Huge difference between shining in the Czech league and holding your own against Haaland and Salah Ray.
Yeah.
What makes you think he can make that jump?
Well, I mean, it's true. Premier League's a whole other level. Yeah. But there are some encouraging signs. Remember that Champions League quarterfinal against Real Madrid? I mean, the pace of that game was incredibly high. And Kinsky looked completely at ease, reading the play, anticipating passes, making crucial interventions.
Okay, I see your point. But Real Madrid is one thing. Premier League, every week.
Yeah.
Top-class attackers.
Yeah.
Relentless.
You're right. It's a different level of intensity. But that's where his mental strength comes in. Oh. I mean, time and time again, he's shown he can handle the pressure, doesn't let the occasion get to him. And that's crucial for any keeper, especially in the Premier League.
All right, you've convinced me. Let's break down what makes him so special, those skills, techniques, tactical nuances that set him apart from other young goalkeepers. And how do those qualities align with Tottenham's needs and style of play?
Okay, let's dive into the goalkeeper's toolbox.
I like it. Give me the details.
So first, distribution. We've talked about his ambipedality, but it's more than just being able to kick with both feet.
Right.
It's the accuracy, the weight of pass, the vision to pick out the right option.
Okay.
Kinsky's got it all.
So he's not just hoofing it upfield, he's actually picking out passes like a midfielder.
Exactly. He can play short passes to his defenders. He can launch long balls over the top. I mean, he can even thread the needle through tight spaces.
Right.
And that is crucial for a team like Tottenham that likes to build from the back.
Yeah.
I mean, with Kinsky in goal, they can bypass the opposition's press, create scoring chances right from their own half.
I'm starting to see it. But what about shot stopping? I mean, that's still the bread and butter for a goalkeeper.
Yeah, of course. And Kinsky's no slouch in that department. Great reflexes. He's quick off his line, not afraid to get down and dirty to make a save.
Right, but there's more to it than just raw athleticism.
Yeah.
Right? Like positioning, decision-making.
Yeah, and that's where Kinsky really shines. Incredible sense of anticipation. He's always reading the game a step ahead.
Yeah.
So he's rarely caught out of position.
So that comes back to that calmness under pressure.
Exactly. Ice in his veins. He doesn't panic, doesn't get flustered, just stays focused and does his job. And that is a quality that is, worth its weight in gold for any goalkeeper.
Especially at a high-pressure club like Tottenham.
Absolutely.
So we've got a young, talented goalkeeper. Incredible distribution skills, sharp reflexes, cool head. What's not to love?
Well, like any young player, there are always areas to improve. His decision-making, while generally excellent, can be a bit rash sometimes. He's still learning when to take risks, when to play it safe.
Like that time he tried to dribble past Erling Haaland in the Champions League.
Exactly. I mean, that was a learning experience, to say the least.
Yeah.
But that's part of the process, right? He's young, he's ambitious, and he's not afraid to try new things.
Yeah.
And those are qualities that can take him far as long as he learns from his mistakes.
Okay, so we've got a potential star in our hands. But can he handle the pressure cooker of the Premier League? Can he adapt to the faster pace, the more physical style of play, the relentless media scrutiny?
Those are the million-dollar questions, and the only way to find out is to watch and see what happens.
I'm intrigued. This kid's got all the tools to succeed, but the Premier League is a different beast altogether.
Yeah.
It's going to be fascinating to see how he adapts, how he develops over the next few seasons.
Absolutely. And here's another layer to consider. How will his arrival impact the rest of the Tottenham squad?
Oh, I like where this is going. Tell me more.
Think about it. Tottenham's defense has been, shaky all season.
Yeah.
Lacking confidence, organization. Suddenly, they've got this young, assured goalkeeper who's not afraid to to take charge, to direct traffic, to be vocal,
Yeah.
that can have a ripple effect throughout the entire back line.
So it's not just about Kinsky's individual brilliance. It's about the potential for him to lift the entire team's defensive performance.
Exactly, and that's what makes this signing so intriguing. It's not just about filling a hole in the squad.
Yeah.
It's about bringing in a potential catalyst for change.
Love that perspective.
Yeah.
So it's not just a transfer, it's an experiment.
In a way, yes. They're taking a gamble on a young player with a very unique skill set.
Yeah.
And it could pay off in a big way, not just for Kinsky's career, but for the entire club.
Okay, I'm getting really excited for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
But let's take a closer look at some of the specific challenges Kinsky might face in the Premier League.
Okay, let's dive into the Premier League pressure cooker.
All right, first up, the physicality. English game, known for its rough-and-tumble style, lots of aerial duels, strong challenges. Can Kinsky handle the heat?
Yeah, that's a valid concern. He's not, the biggest goalkeeper out there. And he's used to, I guess, a more technical, less physical style of play in the Czech league.
So will he need to bulk up, like hit the gym, put on some muscle?
It might help, but it's not just about size. It's about mentality.
Right.
He needs to be prepared for those physical battles. He needs to be fearless in the air and able to just bounce back from a hard challenge.
And that's where that calmness under pressure comes in?
Exactly. Stay composed, even when the opposition is trying to, intimidate him.
So physicality, check. What about the pace of the game? Premier League, lightning fast, constant end-to-end action.
Yeah.
Can he keep up?
Again, it's a big step up from the Czech league.
Right.
He's going to need to be lightning quick off his line, making split-second decisions, anticipating the play even faster than before.
Sounds like a tall order for a young keeper.
Yeah.
But you seem to have faith in him. What makes you think he can handle it?
Well, remember that Champions League quarterfinal against Real Madrid?
Yeah.
I mean, the pace of that game was incredibly high, and Kinsky looked totally comfortable. He was reading the play, anticipating passes, making those crucial interventions.
Okay, yeah, I see your point.
Yeah.
But Real Madrid's one thing. The Premier League, week in, week out.
It's true. It's a different level of intensity. But that's where his mental strength comes in. I mean, he's shown time and again he can handle pressure. He doesn't let the occasion get to him. And that's crucial for any goalkeeper who wants to succeed in the Premier League.
So physicality, pace, mental strength.
Mm.
What else should we be looking out for as Kinsky makes this transition to English football?
Well, there's the tactical side of things. He's going to need to adapt to Tottenham's system, learn their defensive patterns, understand how they want to build from the back.
And that's where his communication skills will be key, right? He's going to need to be vocal, organize his defense, make sure everyone's on the same page.
Absolutely. And he's going to need to do it in a foreign language, in a new environment, with a whole new set of teammates.
So it's not just about his physical and technical attributes. It's about his leadership qualities, his ability to adapt, his willingness to learn.
Exactly. It's a holistic challenge.
All right, I'm convinced. This is more than just a transfer story. It's a human story. A young man stepping out of his comfort zone, chasing his dreams, taking on a huge challenge, and we get to watch it all unfold.
Who knows? Maybe we'll be witnessing the birth of a Premier League legend.
Okay, let's not get too carried away just yet, but I am definitely excited to see how this all plays out. But before we move on, I think we need to address the elephant in the room. Premier League is notorious for its intense media scrutiny. And for a young player coming from a, relatively smaller league, that can be overwhelming. How do you think Kinsky will handle that constant attention, the pressure to perform, the inevitable comparisons to other goalkeepers, past and present?
That's a great question. And it's something that Tottenham's coaching staff, they'll need to manage carefully.
Yeah.
Kinsky's going to be thrust into the spotlight, and he's going to need, support and guidance to navigate that media frenzy. Luckily, it seems like, he's got a good head on his shoulders, known for being pretty level-headed, focused on his game. Plus, he's experienced that Champions League pressure.
Yeah, Real Madrid.
Exactly, facing those giants. So he's had a taste of high-stakes football,
Yep.
That experience will definitely serve him well in the Premier League.
Yeah, the Champions League, it's a pretty good proving ground.
Mm-hmm.
But that Premier League pressure, it's relentless. It's not just a few big games, it's every single week.
Yeah.
How do you think he'll handle that week in, week out grind? Especially if Tottenham's defense doesn't, magically transform overnight.
Well, I mean, there are bound to be some bumps in the road. No goalkeeper's perfect.
Yeah,
He'll make mistakes, especially as he adjusts to a new league.
of course.
The key is how he responds to those setbacks.
Right.
Can he learn from them? Can he maintain his confidence?
Yeah, and can the Tottenham fan base be patient enough to allow for, a learning curve?
It's a good question. I mean, they're known for being pretty passionate, to say the least.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real. Premier League is a results-driven business. Right.
If Tottenham starts leaking goals and Kinsky's the one picking the ball out of the net, I mean, that pressure will mount quickly.
For sure. So it's a high-stakes gamble for both sides. But let's shift gears a little bit here. We've talked a lot about, his technical skills, his mental attributes. But what about his personality? What kind of presence does he bring to the locker room?
Well, from what I've gathered, he's kind of a quiet leader.
Oh.
Someone who leads by example, not really, the flashy, outspoken type.
Yeah.
He commands respect through his work ethic and his dedication to the team.
Interesting. Tottenham's had some big personalities in goal in the past. Guys like Loris and Gomes.
Oh, yeah.
Kinsky seems like a different breed.
Yeah, exactly. And that might be exactly what Tottenham needs right now.
Okay.
Just a calm, steady presence at the back who can just instill confidence in his defenders without needing to, make grand gestures or give fiery speeches.
So almost like a calming influence amidst the chaos. That's a good way to put it. And remember, he's joining a squad that's been through a lot of upheaval this season, right? New manager, new system, some disappointing results. That calm, collected presence in goal could be just what they need to kind of steady the ship.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
So he's the anchor, the steady hand on the helm as they navigate these choppy waters.
Exactly.
But how does that actually translate into his communication on the pitch?
Well, he may be a quiet leader off the pitch, but during games, he's known for being actually quite vocal and authoritative.
Oh.
Commands his area, directs his defenders. He's not afraid to bark out orders.
So he's got that quiet intensity, the kind of player who doesn't need to shout to be heard.
Exactly. And that kind of leadership can be contagious.
Yeah.
It can give the entire defense a boost of confidence. They know they've got someone back there who's got their back, literally and figuratively.
I like it. Okay, I'm convinced. This kid's the real deal.
Yeah.
But let's play devil's advocate for a minute. Let's say Kinsky struggles. Just doesn't adapt to the Premier League.
Right.
Pressure gets to him, mistakes start piling up, and the fans start getting restless.
Yeah.
What's Tottenham's plan B?
That's a smart question. No transfer is without risk.
Yeah.
I mean, Tottenham's academy has some promising young goalkeepers, but they're probably not ready for the Premier League spotlight just yet.
Right.
And, I mean, the free agent market for experienced goalkeepers, pretty thin right now.
So they're really putting all their eggs in Kinsky's basket.
It seems that way. They've identified him as their top target, and they're willing to spend big to get him.
Right.
Which, shows a certain level of confidence in their scouting and their assessment of his potential.
Yeah, but it's also a risky move. I mean, if Kinsky doesn't work out, they're back to square one, potentially in even worse shape than they are now.
Yeah, that's the nature of the business in football. Sometimes you just have to take, calculated risks, especially when you're trying to build a team for the future.
All right, let's zoom out for a second. Talk about the bigger picture. This transfer, if it happens, could have implications beyond just Tottenham, right?
Yeah.
How might Kinsky's arrival impact the Premier League landscape as a whole?
That's an interesting angle. His style of play, his emphasis on, distribution, playing out from the back could really influence other teams.
Okay.
We might see more clubs looking for goalkeepers who are comfortable with their feet, who can act as that extra outfield player.
So he could be a trendsetter, a pioneer of a new breed of goalkeeper in the Premier League.
It's certainly possible. Remember, their Premier League, copycat league.
Yeah.
If Kinsky succeeds at Tottenham, other teams are going to be watching closely.
Yeah.
And they might start, adjusting their transfer strategies accordingly.
That's a fascinating thought. So we're not just talking about a single player. We're talking about a potential shift in the way the game is played at the highest level.
Exactly. And that's why this transfer is so intriguing. It's not just about Tottenham getting a new goalkeeper.
Right.
It's about the potential for a ripple effect that could change the face of the Premier League.
Man, I'm loving this deep dive.
Yeah.
It's gone way beyond just analyzing a player. It's about understanding the evolution of the game, the tactical trends, the global market for talent.
Absolutely.
Let's bring it back to Kinsky for a moment. We've talked about his skills, personality, potential impact on Tottenham, the Premier League. But what about his journey?
Yeah.
Like, what's his story? How did he get here?
Well, his rise has been pretty meteoric. I mean, he started out in the youth academy of like a small Czech club.
Yeah.
Quickly caught the eye of scouts with his, exceptional talent.
So he's not like a product of one of those big famous academies. He's kind of a hidden gem.
Exactly. And that makes his story even more compelling, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he had to work hard, had to prove himself at every level.
Yeah.
Overcome the odds to get to where he is today.
It's a classic underdog story.
Yeah.
The kid from a small town who makes it to the big leagues through sheer talent and determination.
Yeah, there's something, inspiring about that, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it just shows that anything is possible if you believe in yourself and you're willing to put in the work.
Totally. But let's not forget, he's only 21. He's just getting started.
Exactly.
What are his long-term goals? Where does he see himself in, 5-10 years?
Well, he's said in interviews that he dreams of playing for one of the biggest clubs in the world, winning trophies, representing his country at the highest level.
And so he's got big ambitions. But how realistic are those dreams? Can he really reach those heights?
I mean, it's impossible to predict the future, but he's definitely got the talent and the drive to achieve great things.
But he's also got a lot to learn, a lot of challenges to overcome.
Of course, but that's what makes his journey so exciting. We get to watch him grow. We get to, see him evolve, witness his development as a player and as a person.
And who knows, maybe in a few years we'll be looking back at this deep dive and saying, we knew him when.
That's the beauty of football, isn't it? The unpredictability, the potential for greatness.
Yeah.
I mean, the possibility that a young player like Kinsky could just come out of nowhere and take the world by storm.
All right, let's get down to brass tacks. We've talked a lot about Kinsky's potential impact on Tottenham, but let's break it down even further.
Okay.
What are the specific areas where his arrival could make the biggest difference for Spurs this season?
Well, let's start with the most obvious one, their defense.
Okay.
I mean, as we've discussed, Tottenham's been leaking goals all season.
Yeah.
And a lot of that just comes down to, lack of confidence and organization at the back.
Right.
Kinsky's arrival could provide, an immediate boost in those areas.
So it's not just a shot stopper. He's like a leader, an organizer, a calming influence on that whole back line.
Exactly. Just his presence alone could instill a sense of belief in those defenders. Allow them to play with more freedom and less hesitation.
Yeah, okay. And that could lead to fewer individual errors, fewer lapses in concentration, and ultimately fewer goals conceded.
Precisely. And that's not even taking into account his shot-stopping ability, which is also top-notch.
So he's a defensive upgrade on multiple levels. But what about his impact on their attack? We've talked about his distribution skills, his ability to launch counterattacks, but how significant could that be in terms of actually creating scoring opportunities?
Well, think about how Tottenham like to play.
Yeah.
They're a possession-based team. They like to build from the back. And they rely on quick transitions to create those chances.
Right.
Kinsky's passing range and vision could be a major asset in that regard.
So he's not just preventing goals, he's potentially creating them as well.
Exactly. He could be that missing link in Tottenham's attacking chain. The player who can unlock defenses with, a quick pass or a perfectly weighted long ball.
I'm starting to see why Tottenham's so keen on him. He's not just a goalkeeper, he's a weapon.
Yeah, I mean, but let's not get too carried away with the hype. There are still challenges, still questions that need to be answered.
Of course.
And the biggest one is, can he handle the pressure?
Right.
Can he live up to the expectations? Can he justify that hefty price tag?
And can he do it all? In a new league, new country, new set of teammates?
Those are the questions that will define his time at Tottenham. And the answers, they'll only come with time and experience.
Well, I'm definitely intrigued. This is a story that's just beginning to unfold, and I can't wait to see where it goes. But before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I think we need to address one more crucial aspect of Kinsky's potential impact on Tottenham.
Okay.
And it's a piece that often gets overlooked in these discussions.
All right, I'm intrigued. What is it?
His relationship with the manager.
Ah, yes, the manager, the mastermind, the tactician, the man who ultimately decides how Kinsky will be used, how his skills will be integrated into the team's overall strategy.
Exactly. And in Tottenham's case, The manager is known for his demanding high-intensity style, his emphasis on attacking football, and his, shall we say, particular preferences when it comes to player profiles.
Yeah. I mean, he's not exactly known for being patient with young players who don't, immediately adapt to his system.
Right.
So the question is, will Kinski be given the time and space to learn, to grow, to, make mistakes and learn from them? Or will he be thrown into the deep end and expected to sink or swim?
That's a great point. I mean, we've seen plenty of examples in the past where a young player's development has been, stunted by a manager who's either too demanding or too impatient.
Absolutely. And we've also seen examples where, a manager's faith in a young player has paid off handsomely,
Yeah.
nurturing their talent and helping them, reach their full potential. So which one will it be for Kinski?
Only time will tell. But it's definitely a factor worth considering as we, assess his chances of success at Tottenham. But let's shift our focus from the manager to the fans for a second.
Okay.
Tottenham supporters, they're known for their passion, their loyalty, and their, shall we say, vocal opinions.
Ah, yes, the Tottenham faithful. A force to be reckoned with. They can be a player's, greatest asset, cheering them on to victory, or their harshest critic, letting their frustrations be known when things aren't going well.
Right.
So how will Kinski handle the pressure of playing in front of such a demanding crowd?
That's a great question. And it's not just about the noise. It's about the expectations. Tottenham fans have been spoiled by some world-class goalkeepers in the past.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll be expecting Kinski to, to live up to that legacy.
They'll be watching his every move, analyzing his every save, comparing him to those legends who came before him.
Yes, no pressure then. But seriously, how do you think he'll cope with that level of scrutiny?
Well, from what we've seen so far, he seems to thrive under pressure.
Right.
He's got that calm, cool demeanor, that unflappable confidence that could serve him well in the face of adversity.
Yeah, but it's one thing to handle pressure in the Czech league. It's another thing entirely to do it in the Premier League.
Yeah.
I mean, the stakes are higher, the scrutiny is more intense, the consequences of failure are magnified.
You're absolutely right. It's a whole different ballgame. But Kinski's got something special.
Oh.
I know, something intangible that just suggests he might just be able to handle it all.
I'm starting to believe it myself. But let's not forget, this is a long-term project. I mean, Tottenham's not signing Kinski for a quick fix.
Right.
They're investing in his potential, his future.
Exactly. And that means they need to be patient. They need to give him, time to adapt.
Yeah.
Time to learn, to grow into the role.
But they also need to be realistic, right? I mean, not every young player fulfills their potential. Not every transfer works out as planned.
That's true. But there's something about Kinski, something in his eyes, something in his demeanor that just suggests he's not afraid of the challenge.
Yeah.
He's ready to embrace it, to learn from it, and to come out stronger on the other side.
I love that perspective. It's not just about the skills, the stats, the tactical analysis. It's about the human element, the character, the will to succeed. And that's what makes this story so compelling.
Absolutely. And it's what makes us keep coming back for more, week after week, season after season.
Yeah.
Because in football, as in life, it's the stories that matter, the journeys that capture our imaginations,
Right.
the triumphs and the heartbreaks that, that keep us hooked.
Beautifully put. And on that note, I think we've covered just about every angle of this fascinating transfer saga.
Yeah, I think so.
But before we move on to our final thoughts, there's one more piece of the puzzle that we need to examine.
Okay.
And it's a piece that often gets overlooked in these discussions.
I'm intrigued. What is it?
The cultural aspect.
Ah.
Kinski's he's moving to a new country, a new city, a new culture. How do you think that will impact his adaptation process, both on and off the pitch?
That's a great point. We often get so caught up in, the tactical and technical details.
Yeah.
But, the human element, the cultural adjustment is just as important, if not more so.
Exactly. I mean, he's leaving behind his family, his friends, his support system. He's going to be navigating a new language, new lifestyle, a new set of social norms.
Right.
And that can be daunting, especially for a young player who's already under, immense pressure to perform.
It's like, being thrown into the deep end of a pool without knowing how to swim.
Yeah.
He's going to need all the support he can get from the club, from his teammates, from his family back home.
And he's going to need to be adaptable, open-minded, willing to embrace those differences and learn from them.
Absolutely. And let's not forget, London's a melting pot of cultures. It's a, vibrant cosmopolitan city, embraces diversity. He's going to be exposed to, a wide range of influences, a kaleidoscope of experiences that could enrich his life both on and off the pitch.
I love that perspective. It's not just a football transfer. It's a cultural exchange,
Yeah.
a personal growth opportunity.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe this move will, inspire him to learn a new language,
Right.
explore new cuisines, embrace new customs.
Yeah.
It's a chance for him to broaden his horizons, become a more well-rounded individual.
And that, in turn, could make him a better footballer.
Absolutely.
A more adaptable, more resilient, more culturally aware player.
It's all connected, isn't it? The personal and the
Yeah.
professional, the cultural and the sporting. And that's what makes this story so fascinating. We're not just watching a player. We're, watching a human being evolve.
Beautifully said. And on that note, I think we've covered just about everything we need to know about Antonin Kinsky. The man, the myth, the legend in the making.
Or at least the legend in the waiting. We'll have to wait and see how this chapter unfolds.
But before we move on to our final thoughts, there's one more burning question that I need to ask you.
Oh, okay.
And it's a question that's been nagging at me throughout this whole discussion.
Okay, I'm all ears. What is it?
We've talked about Kinsky's strengths, his weaknesses, his potential impact on Tottenham. But what about his weaknesses? I mean, every player has them,
Yeah.
even the best in the world. So what are the areas where Kinsky needs to improve, the aspects of his game that could hold him back from reaching his full potential?
That's a great question, and it's one that we need to address honestly and objectively.
Yeah.
Because even though Kinsky has all the tools to become a world-class goalkeeper,
Yeah.
there are still some rough edges that need to be polished.
So let's get specific. What are the areas where you see room for improvement?
Well, one area that kind of stands out is his decision-making under pressure.
Yeah.
As we've discussed, he's generally a very calm and composed goalkeeper.
Right.
But there have been occasions where he's made some rash decisions, especially when faced with those high-pressure situations.
Like that time he tried to dribble past Erling Haaland in the Champions League.
Exactly. I mean, that was a moment of madness, a lapse in judgment that could have cost his team dearly. And while it's great that he's confident and ambitious,
Yeah.
he needs to learn to pick his moments more carefully.
So it's about finding that right balance between risk-taking and, playing it safe, knowing when to be bold, when to be conservative.
Exactly. And that comes with experience,
Mm.
with, learning from mistakes, with developing a deeper understanding of the game.
So decision-making under pressure is one area for improvement. What else?
Another area is his aerial ability. He's not the tallest goalkeeper, and he's not always the most dominant in the air.
And that could be a problem in the Premier League where, the physicality is so intense and those aerial battles are so crucial.
Absolutely. He's going to need to work on his positioning, his timing, his strength in the air if he wants to, compete with the best strikers in the world.
So it's not just about shot stopping. It's about commanding his area, about being, a presence in the box.
Exactly. And that's something that can be, improved with training, with coaching, with repetition.
Okay, so we've got decision-making and aerial ability as two areas for improvement. Anything else?
Well, one final area that I'd mention is his consistency.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he's had some brilliant games where he's looked like a world beater.
Yeah.
But he's also had some shaky performances where he's looked, vulnerable.
And that's understandable. I mean, given his age and his, relative lack of experience at the highest level.
Mm-hmm. Of course. But if he wants to establish himself as a top goalkeeper, he needs to find a way to perform at a high level week in, week out.
So it's about maintaining that focus, staying motivated, not letting complacency creep in.
Exactly. And that's a mental challenge as much as a physical one.
All right, so we've identified 3 areas where Kinsky needs to improve. Decision-making under pressure, aerial ability, and consistency. But let's not forget, these are all areas that can be addressed with, hard work, dedication, and the right guidance.
Absolutely. And remember, he's still only 21 years old. He's got time on his side, and he's got the potential to become one of the best goalkeepers in the world.
And that's what makes this story so exciting. We get to watch him grow. We get to see him evolve. We get to witness his journey from, promising youngster to seasoned veteran.
And who knows, maybe in a few years we'll be looking back at this deep dive and saying, we knew him when he was still a raw talent.
Yeah.
But we could see the greatness within him.
I love that thought. And on that note, I think it's time to move on to our final thoughts, our concluding reflections on this fascinating deep dives into the world of Antonin Kinsky.
Okay. Let's wrap things up with some insightful takeaways and some thought-provoking questions for our listeners to ponder.
It's interesting is that we've talked about like all the tactics, the techniques, the mental side of things, even the whole cultural shift he's facing.
Right.
But, sometimes it's those little things, those intangible qualities that make the difference, between good and great.
It's true. I mean, you can look at the stats all day long, but there's just a certain, I don't know, a spark, a certain magic that you can't measure.
Yeah,
And watching some of his highlights, I think, Kinski might just have that it factor.
I think I agree. There's this moment. It's like a split second right before he makes his saves where you just see this like incredible focus in his eyes.
Yeah, yeah.
This like unwavering belief that he's going to stop the ball no matter what.
Yeah, it's almost like he like wills the ball to stay out of the net.
Right.
And that kind of mentality, that unshakable belief, it can be contagious.
Right.
It can lift his teammates, inspire the fans, just demoralize the opposition.
I'm picturing him now, in that Tottenham shirt, making
Yeah.
one of those gravity-defying saves,
Yeah.
crowd erupting, teammates going crazy, celebrating.
It's a pretty exciting thought, isn't it?
It is. It is. And, beyond all the individual brilliance, the potential trophies, the awards, you were saying there's something even more profound at play here.
Yeah, I mean, think about what he represents, right? This young guy from a relatively small country with, a dream. He's worked hard, he's honed his skills, he's overcome obstacles, and now he's on the verge of achieving something really remarkable.
Yeah, it's a story that just transcends borders and,
Yeah.
languages, cultures. It's just a reminder that passion and dedication, belief in yourself can take you anywhere.
Yeah, and that's a message that I think resonates with people all over the world,
Yeah.
regardless of their background, their nationality, even their favorite football team.
It's a story that gives us hope, inspires us to chase our own dreams,
Mhm.
Believe that anything is possible if we just set our minds to it.
And that is the power of football. It's more than just a game, right? It's a mirror to society, a reflection of our, hopes, our fears, our aspirations.
Beautifully said. I think it's time to wrap up this incredible deep dive into the world of Antonin Kinsky.
Yeah, it's been a good one.
We've covered so much, from his technical skills to his mental toughness, his tactical awareness, the cultural adaptation,
There's a lot.
strengths and weaknesses, his potential impact, on Tottenham and the Premier League,
Yeah.
the broader implications of his journey.
Absolutely.
But, most importantly, we've witnessed the emergence of this remarkable talent, this young man with a dream, a story that's still being written.
Still unfolding.
And as we sign off, we'll leave you with this final thought. Keep your eyes on Antonin Kinsky.
Because this is a name you'll be hearing a lot more of in the years to come.
Who knows? Maybe one day we'll look back on this, deep dive and say, we were there at the beginning.
Yeah.
We saw that spark, that potential, that raw talent that would eventually blossom into, a true legend.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep the passion for the beautiful game alive.
Absolutely.